In this video I'm showing how to convert Mark III golf seats, or any seats in general, to recline forward. So these are out of a 4-door car, so they don't recline forward, so obviously you'd have a front door and a back door, but I only have front door, so I want these to recline forward. So these are ones that I've made up, so they fit like that and back again. So that's the passenger side, so I'm going to do the driver's side next. So here I have the driver's side seat, and I've just split it in half. There's two little clips, one this side, on that side. There's a hex key or bolt to go there, and just push the pin back and they all come apart. That's the hex key or hex bolt, and you just undo it. If the very worst, just drive a chisel into the side of it and just keep rotating it around. So the bolt earlier on said you actually do need it. That just holds in the roller. Here I have a set of Vento seats, and this is the clip. So I've taken the spring off already, so the spring would go up here where my finger is. So that's the clip out. You just take an angle grinder and you angle grind the outside of it, not the inside. So that's going to go onto my nice Mark III seats. See, that's the clip, that's the pin. So I'll be using this pin again. The pin has to stay stationary, so I'll just a big blob of weld on top, and this will slide back and forth. Okay, so here we have the Mark III leather seats that I'm converting. This is the clip that had the bolt going through it, so what we'll do is just run the angle grinder over this and take all of this off and keep the hole nice and clean and free, ready to accept this bracket. Okay, so now I have this cut, so just ram the grinder just on top of the nut. So you take that out and replace both of them. So now that's the hole there, but it doesn't quite fit. It's actually this hole here, which is the next one down. So that's for the locking tab, or else for these hooks, it's actually this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind off some of the paint and then just put a big blob of weld, just stop that from moving. So it can still rotate, this can still move, but the actual pin won't. So it'll look very similar to this setup here. So there's still a spring to be installed, and then be ready to go. So on this one here that I took out, it's actually for the far side, but they're made from both. So you just pull out the pin and put in the far side. That's all it is. So this is a better close-up of just showing these jaws in action. So you can see them there, just opening and closing like that. And if we look real closely, there's a little stop just there where my finger is. So it stops here and then it'll stop here. It's like a little button pressed into the metal. You see, like that. So obviously when you're welding the bar back on, you have to make sure that everything is in line, that these two fingers here are in between the button. So when you weld it all up, everything is in the right place. Okay, so I have the seat upside down, and it's welded. Not the most prettiest weld, but it's welded. So that's the seat with the two claws on it, and if I want to, I could just leave it at that, and I just have to reach in. I could just put a wire between both of them, and as it's the driver's seat, it's rarely pushed forward, so if I wanted, I just put a wire on the back, and if for the odd time, let's say like you have to reach in and get an umbrella or something like that, you could just pull the wire and you'd release both claws. But I'm going to go all in and have an actual little lever at the top like you're meant to have. So here I have a Mark I Golf 3-door with a cable in it. The claws are different, so I don't know whether I might have to take off those claws or I'll try to re-engineer it that I can leave them on it. But it's the wire, little handle mechanism, and this little piece here. And there is a little handle then to go on top of all of that. So there's a little spring just back here that pulls the arm back, and the claws, well, I suppose they do work. There's no springs anymore because the springs just broke up. This seat has been out in the rain, so when I found it, it's fairly wrecked. Even the covers, everything is ripped on it. So it'll be ideal just to chop the two sides off, take that off and weld it onto my new seats. Okay, so the progress so far, the wire that ran from here across to here and into this little mechanism, there's a little bar just behind here with two holes in it. I've removed that one and the one from up here down to here as well. So these are what they look like. There's a little guide that's off the Mark 1 Golf. It sits in there somewhere, and there's another one sitting there. So this is the Mark 3 Golf seat. So there's a long and a short. So the long one obviously goes from the longest distance all the way across to the furthest here. There's a hole there for it to guide into. So there's a little hole so far in there. It's just where my finger is. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but just there. So I'm going to make this. I just have to tap it in maybe with a hammer and chisel. Just tap it in, and we'll see when I cut this little bar off and cut that off and weld that back in here. Hopefully this will be long enough that'll reach. If it isn't, I might have to just take out the drill and I'm not going to cut these off and re-weld new ones back on. I'm just going to drill a hole straight through it and put it in here, because that's where it is on the Mark 1 Golf. But again, the actual profile of the jaw, or this line here and everything, is slightly different. So that's why I said if the original is a Mark 3 Golf, we'll then use this one as original, so it's a Mark 3 Golf. So like the profiles will be exactly the same, just in case there was something different that the two jaws wouldn't click in at the same time or whatever. So yeah, a little bit stuck at the moment, but I'll keep you updated. Okay, so finally got some progress. So there's one arm, second arm is just there, two cables are in, those little plastic things I was showing you in the last video, they're all in. I tapped them both in, ran this up and this up, and this is the mechanism of the other seat that I got. This is actually off the driver's side, because the passenger side is the one I showed in the last video. It's hinged up here, so you'd have to drill it out and put it back in here. So I just chopped the one out of the driver's seat. So I just chopped it straight down on either side, and then there's only a little tiny small piece of metal here. So at the moment it's only just tacked here and here, just straight on. Didn't even bother cutting the Mark 3 Golf. Installed the little handle. It's a nice little Mark 1 kind of styling of a handle, where the Mark 2 has like a big finger that comes out to here. So this is a proper like Mark 1. So I have that in. I put that in first, and that there's a little bar that's from here, goes straight in here. So that's not how I know where this is all the way down. Then when you push like that, that's all the way up. So there's like obviously like the hole that's in behind it that this is sliding in. So that's how you know it's like top and bottom. So I have it all the way to the bottom. So then put it in here, and up through here, attached it, and then worked out my height of where it would all run. So when everything was correct, and there's no tension on the spring, so that's the spring just jumping forward there, and it's stopping the right place. So that's how I know that the arm is all the way forward, with more or less no tension on the little wire. So then you know where to weld this, because otherwise if you weld it too far up or too far down, if you weld it just barely too far down, when you close the seat, it'll be perfect here. But when you go to raise it like that to move the seat forward, the arm will come up, but it won't come up 100%. It'll come up like 80%, and it'll never really like clear the finger that sticks through here. So if that my finger was a little bar, the little finger, it would never like fully release, and it'll just catch. So it's kind of important to get it right, exactly in the correct place. So then this is the short cable, so this is the long cable. So it's if it ever breaks, all I have to do is just buy another Mark 1 Golf. I think actually Mark 2 Golf is actually the same cable, so at least that one is correct. This one here is too short, it's not going to fit. So what my plan is to do is weld a little piece of metal onto this, bring it up to about here, drill a hole in it, and then when I obviously pull up here, when this pulls on it, it'll pull this back far enough. Hopefully there's enough distance between here and when it goes inside that it's not going to like start hitting off stuff as it's trying to retract back in. So we'll see how this goes. This is just a close-up of the bar all welded in and working perfectly. So it goes from here down to here, welded on, and there's plenty of movement in it. You pull all of this back down. This is your leather. Pull it back down. Just put your hand, push it in there, and you'll feel where the gap is. So you can see it on this side here. There's a little bit of a gap. You'll feel it on the leather when you push it in. You just run a knife then in there. Put in your fancy little piece of plastic. Put in the finger, and then you're done. That's it. The bar that comes across, it's like a T. So one goes like from there straight across into this, and there's a hole in it, and that's what this cable is off. And then there's a T coming across to here, and there's just like a piece of metal just underneath here with a hole, and that's what this cable follows down. It's really simple. It's just very time consuming, and most important thing, when you take it off, point at which side this is at. So the bolt earlier on, I said you actually do need it. That just holds in the roller. So I finally had the seat finished in its glory with all the trim back on. I know it looks a little bit tatty just around here, but a bit of polish and it looked grand again. The reason for converting the seats was I tried to find a set of Mark 3 seats that tilted forward, and then I just basically just skin these seats, so just take the leather off and put them onto another set of seats. But every place I looked, they're either GTI and they want too much money for the seats, or they're just 4-door seats and they're going cheap. But again, 4-door, I have that problem already. I wanted 3-door seats that tilted forward. I couldn't find any, so I had to make my own. But I think they turned out pretty well, and I'm very happy. Thanks for watching.